What's good? What's good? What's good? Thank you guys for joining us. Happy New Year to everybody, sir. Happy New Year, Cleveland. It's the first show of the year, episode 273, January 3rd, 2024. Man, just coming off a holiday season. How was holiday season a little nervous for you, huh? It was a little nervous up in Montlake, huh?
Oh, quite nervous. I was on pins and needles, and I can't even describe the anxiety that was going on that last play. It was like I just felt it all slipping away, like all of the goodwill, all of the 14 wins. It didn't mean anything, and you couldn't stop them on this one play, and they did.
So it's that 20 wins in a row, fans. Our college football conversation continues this is more college football, I have to say, in this last season. This is the most college football I can remember talking on the show. I can't remember talking about this much college football, at least for the last 10 weeks for sure. Potentially ever on the show, fans. So enjoy it while it lasts. We got one more week left. And fortunately for those up in the Northwest from Montlake and Cleveland got the colors, you live and breathe again one more week. And let's see, you got rid of a team, future SEC team. Now can you handle a Big 10 team, a Big 12, what is it going to be, Big 20? What are they going to call the league? The big league next year?
Let's still call it the same, but I mean, that was my understanding, but it will be a lot more teams than just 12. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how this plays out because they're going to have a team in Rutgers, New Jersey, and a team in Southern California in the same conference. How's that going to play out?
And don't count those Rutgers cats out because they blew out Miami in the bowl game. So I blew them out, but they won that game. So everybody unbeatable, and welcome. We welcome the opportunity and the challenge.
We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna get to it, fans. So stick with us. Happy New Year to all y'all, and we're gonna get the show started just like we did last year.
Am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name is
Cameron.
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy? I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Talk about that loyalty for a moment.
I'm staying there to try to make a change. Get back to the youth, get back to my community and show them that there is hope that you can make it out. Only thing is you just got to be dedicated. You got to keep your head down and stay on this course that you're heading towards.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter. The fighter works
for the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score when we went
On your team, it's ball number 2 option or your number 3 option? On Kenny's team, 30 nights a year, he's my number 1 option. 30 nights.
Can I finish right now? Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me? Which one?
What do you think about this upcoming?
Like I was saying before.
Well, every game's a new game, so each one's a different experience, different defense, different players, different game plan. So.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show voice of the fan,
Oh my goodness!
continues to evolve.
You were adding some spice to it.
It is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
Real ones know what's going on, right?
Like you said, it's a different place, so
I think it's a big part of my game, and every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy
nobody.
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
Look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do
knowing that. Surprised at that, Ken.
It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fans, again, thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man, Cam. I got my man, Cleveland, up in the Northwest. So give yourselves a round of applause for joining us this inaugural episode of the new year, Cleveland. Cleveland, again, we got a lot to talk about, man. NFL week 18 is upon us. We're going to review what happened in week 16. We got some NBA conversation, a lot of things going down in NBA. College football conversation. I mean, all the bowl games. I would ask you about the bowl games and kind of your big takeaway from the bowl games, but a lot of bowl games sucked, actually, in my opinion. I mean, you have to be a hardcore college football fan to watch some of these bowl games that players ain't showing up to, opting out. The transfer portal kind of ruined the bowl games, in my opinion. But we're gonna get to that. Our man, Champside, came out with his pound for pound list, so we'll review that and see what you guys think about that. And got some unique boxing conversations today. I mean, we got some conversations we haven't touched on before. I'm pretty certain we haven't touched on having to do with the sport of boxing. I'm going to give you this week in history as always. But to start off the show, we have our numbers game with it being January 3rd, 2024, week 223 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, Cleveland. When you think of the number 3, who wore that number the best, or who comes to your mind first?
You know, Cam, who comes to mind first is D. Wade. And all that he did down there in Wade County. Who wore it the best? Probably Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth? Right. So your guy Russell Wilson, I mean, Sierra don't get no love in this section?
You know, I had some thoughts for him because I feel for him and the way that Sean Payton has just been kind of browbeating him and kind of leaving him out to dry. About some contract stuff that, like, wow, if you get hurt, but you don't really get hurt that often. Yeah, that's unfortunate the way that whole thing unfolded and played itself out. But yeah, D Wade comes to mind first.
D Wade comes to your mind first, huh? Not Allen Iverson either?
No.
Or Brandon Roy?
I remember D Wade coming off of the 2008 Olympics. It had a lot of players on the court, but there was no doubt who was the best player on the court, and it was D Wade.
So there's been a lot of talk about referees in the sport of football here recently, but D Wade is one guy who actually capitalized on some referees and some blown calls when the Miami Heat in that final series, when he went to the line, 26 free throws in one game, if I remember correctly? Like, that was a lot of calls, man. They were
hacking him.
Dog, 26 free throws in the final.
They were hacking him. They should have, tried some different defensive possibilities. They were hacking him.
You don't believe that. When you think of the number 73, who the first come to your mind?
Larry Allen.
Larry Allen.
Yeah.
John Hanna, that guy who played he played 30 years for the Patriots, it seemed like. But then Larry Allen cleared the way, definitely. Yeah, for those Cowboys back in the day. Cleveland, man, woof, this weekend in the NFL. Oh my goodness. The game one of the games of the week I had listed was my Dolphins. I told you going to Baltimore was going to be the. Actually, they got lucky because the weather wasn't bad. But man, did they get bent over the knee in Baltimore? Lamar Jackson, Harbaugh, they just bent him over the knee. Like, I mean, it was things were going okay until for some reason it was right before halftime. We made a play. Tua made a completion for probably about 15, 16 yards. And as the clock probably 2 minutes, 4 seconds, he caught the pass and was down. And then Tua running to the, trying to run a hurry up offense at the 40, at their 40 with 2 minutes to go. I'm like, why are you rushing? Like, it's about to be the 2-minute warner, and you got 60 yards to go to a field goal. Don't move too fast and giving them the ball back. Tua, 1 second on the 2:01 on the clock, snaps the ball and rushes and throws the interception. Like, he threw it right to do. And then from then on, it was the route was on. Like, Tua, come on, man. Like, settle down, bro. It's like Tua thinks he's more faster and more athletic than he really is. And I think I mentioned this. Last year. You're not gonna want to hear it, fans. You Tua fans not gonna want to hear this. But Cleveland, I did mention that last year, and I blame that same mentality on the reason he was getting injured. Is because he thinks he can get away from players and he can't. He thinks he's tougher than he is, and he's not. Like, dude, you gotta play. You gotta play mistake-free football to be at your best. You can't be taking chances. And for whatever reason, he's trying to rush against his Baltimore defense, who was ready for his BS, and the route was on. They scored right before halftime. They get the ball back after halftime, go down and score again. I mean, Lamar couldn't miss a pass. It was embarrassing after the halftime, Cleveland. How'd you see that game go?
Well, Cam, I mean, I know the way that you feel about Tua. It's a hate-hate relationship. So, I know that, all of the blame, is going to be heaped upon.
Happy New Year, Barry.
Oh, Dan. I know all the blame is going to be heaped upon Tua Tagovailoa, but he's the reason the Dolphins are 11-5 right now. You know what I'm saying? Really?
So Mostert don't have 20 touchdowns?
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Okay, well, yeah, cool, but not the reason that they're 11-5. It's all about Tua, and you're on and off the bandwagon is exhausting.
On and off the bandwagon.
It's exhausting.
Stick with it. I don't how you keep saying on and off. There's been no on and off. I don't think I've been on the train at all.
Oh no. Last year it was like, oh man, you see this this period? He's the greatest.
It was a 6 week.
I mean, no one is.
It was a 6 week period in time where I had to compliment the guy for what he was doing.
And then dude goes 11-3. You're kind of reluctant to get on the bandwagon, but you're still on it. They lose 2 games, and all of a sudden, man, he ain't about dirt. It's like, it's terrible.
So apparently, you didn't watch it. That all that I'm hearing is like you saying I did not watch the game. I did not see how terrible he was.
But you're just really hard. You're really heavy-handed on Tua Tagovailoa, man.
I'm supposed to compliment trash? Is that what you want me to do? When you have a trash performance, you want me to compliment that?
Are the Dolphins going to make the playoffs this year?
I mean, we should beat Buffalo.
That's a yes or no question. Are the Dolphins going to make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, they're in the playoffs. They are in the playoffs.
Oh.
Whether are we number 2 or are we number 6, that depends on.
Okay, that depends on some other variables, but they are in the playoffs. Okay,
that depends on your guy shows up or not. Where we end up being. I mean, I because you anointed them. Oh, in week 6, if they're Super Bowl favorites if he continues on this streak. Well, I wasn't that hype.
But when I pulled back and said they were a little light, to be pushed around, not that physical, you didn't like that talk at all.
No, well, it was just funny how you switched up on it though. That's all. It's not whether I like.
No, they were they're high.
You switch all of a sudden. You had them as Super Bowl favorites one week, and then the next week you're talking about they're lighting the wallet. Like they're not tough enough. It's just like, come on, I'm talking about flip flopping. Who's doing a flip flopping around
That's
here?
not a flip flop.
What do you call it?
When it's 72 degrees outside and not a lot of precipitation in the air, man, those dudes will maul you.
Well, not all the time.
But now it's January, and that high flying offense looks a little. Just saying.
Yeah. That's what they sure did look like, a little shaky last week against the Ravens. That was my game of the week. That was one of my games of the week, and they just got routed. They took it on the chin. The Ravens absolutely looked like the best team in the AFC. Is it hands down on Lamar the MVP?
Hands down. Should be.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of action up until the last 2 weeks. Is Lamar hands down the MVP without question? Turn in your ballots.
In my opinion, yeah, should be. I don't see any other options for MVP in the conversation. To be perfectly honest with you, do you have some, Cam?
I mean, Brock Purdy was pretty high up there.
Okay.
Brock Purdy was pretty high.
They would head up.
I mean, again, that was 2 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago when he emerged. So I guess you got to be the champ. You got to beat the champ, huh?
Just an apparition.
To beat the champ, you got to beat the champ, huh? To beat the champ, you got to beat the champ.
Those two cats went head up.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite an embarrassment.
But so when you think of Lamar Jackson as MVP, this wasn't the MVP season of 2009 when he blew you away with 1,200 yards.
We're not comparing MVP seasons. It was 2019. We're not comparing MVP seasons. It's who is the MVP of this season. You don't want to compare Lamar Jackson to Lamar Jackson. That's not fair to Lamar Jackson. Or the rest of the league, for that matter. He's the MVP of the league this year. They have won so convincingly, they don't even have to play Lamar Jackson next week.
Yeah. I mean, it's a conversation. And I'm not arguing the point, but I'm just saying, when Lamar Jackson 2019, he was hands down unanimous. It wasn't even a question because of what he did on the field. This year, I'm just saying it's not really. He wasn't in the conversation until 2 weeks ago. Till he happened to be. What team did he beat?
Well, he beat the snot piss out of the San Francisco 49ers, I believe, the person that you're referring to as a potential MVP candidate through 4 interceptions.
He was the MVP leader. Had Brock Purdy won that game, he was the MVP. He would have won.
We didn't have his Matt Leinart timeline, to kind of get things done. Yeah, completely, totally different dude.
Oh my goodness. The Cardinals beating the Eagles. Boy, have they Eagles fallen and can't get up. The Cardinals, the Eagles, they were playing good football. Jumped out on top. Forced some turnovers. Looked like they was going away, and then late in the game, you know what? One player who I got to give some credit to is I just totally disregarded when he played with the Steelers. That James Conner. I totally discounted dude when he played for the Steelers. I thought, okay, cancer patient. He's overhyped. Playing with the Steelers. They're just force-feeding him the ball. And he was kind of a touchdown maker when he played for the Steelers. And his first year with the Cardinals was kind of the same way. Not really over impressive, just kind of consistent. And here we are. I don't know how. I don't know. Let me look it up. How long this dude has been in the league now? But man, I gotta give it up to Connors because he's still. I mean, he was running the ball tough against the Eagles, although the Eagles defense ain't what it's been, right? He's running the ball tough and making plays, and that's what I was impressed about, just making plays. So he's 6 years in the league. I gotta give it up to Connors. I mean, he still hasn't had 1,000-yard season in his career. I mean, 773 was second year was the most carries and the most yards that he's had. He's at 890 now. I mean, so he's just muddling around there, just above average running back. But he was making plays the other day, and I was like, 6 years in 6 seasons in the NFL, and you still at least producing. I mean, I'll give it up to having a decent career. What's your thoughts on the Eagles and then James Conner?
Yeah, the Eagles have not found a way to stop the run, and teams know that, so they just run it down their throat. And they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be in trouble. A lot of times, continuity is very important, and they've had a lot of influx of coordinators and players. And
whoa! I know you're not going to a coach issue. I know you're not pulling out a coach conversation. I know that's not what you.
No, what I said that is they've had a lot of influx of coordinators and players. I said both. Perhaps I should have said players and coaches, so that you understand.
I'm just trying to clarify right now, because you who say coaches don't matter, you just try to sneak one in there right there. Good thing I pay attention. Good thing I actually pay attention to what is said on the show, because you just try to bamboozle the fans right there. Are you telling me, Cleavon, is it possible Cleavon just admitted, fans, that coaching matters in the NFL? Is that what I just
in the NFL for sure? It matters somewhat. I mean, you still have to have the the personnel implement your scheme and get things done. But when you lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, and all,
but it don't matter. Just roll off the ball. It's talent. It's talent that matters.
When you bring Matt Patricia to try and stop the bleeding, that's a problem.
I mean, he's a coach just like any other coordinator.
It's Matt Patricia. It's Matt Patricia.
And you dare you say that Matt Patricia learned at the feet of one of the best ever. So again, you don't want to give any head coach any credit, let alone that guy. Is that what we're doing now?
Cam, what I am saying is that the last 4 to 5 games, they have had an inability to stop the run. Hence, you start the show off with how dope James Conner is. I never thought he was dope before, but this one
settle down. I didn't say how dope he is. I just said I have to give the kid credit for having.
I never gave credit to James Conner ever until he ran over the Eagles. But everybody runs over the Eagles the last 4 to 5 games. That's the problem.
Okay. So I see what you think about Connors.
I mean, he's cool, but I mean, Kent Walker ran over the Eagles. Everybody runs over the Eagles right now. And until they can figure out how to stop letting people, and next week, Saquon's coming to town. Or they got to go to Saquon's house.
Hopefully that's not what it sounded like.
He's going to get at least 120 yards. Said it here first. You heard it here first, fans. Saquon's going to have a feast next week.
Oh my goodness! Hopefully that's not what it sounded like, because that's not exactly
what it sounded like. I mean, where else are you getting all this James Conner hype from?
I would not. James Conner will not be on my fantasy squad next year.
I know,
mean, unless he picked in this 17.
You did mention how he just ran roughshod over the field.
I was trying to get him. I was honestly trying to give the man some credit because of his production in the NFL. I've always discounted James Conner again when he ran for the Steelers. I was just whatever.
I know he was calling him Connors during that whole little segment.
I don't think I called him at all. I don't think I called him at all, to be honest with you. I don't think I called him at all when he was with the Steelers. But nonetheless, don't just try to change the subject. Don't try to change the subject of you trying to say coaches matter all of a sudden. That's what I had to stop your little soliloquy.
I didn't say that. I said this team lost their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator, and have not been quite the same.
That sounds like coaching matters to you, fans. What do you guys think? Does that sound like coaching matters to you? Because that's what I heard. Coaching actually matters. But he's saying now that's not what he said, huh? Interesting. But continue. Continue your thoughts on the Eagles getting ran on by everybody, including the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem until they can fix it. But the person that they've put in place to fix that is Matt Patricia. I don't think you can fix the run game, the run stopping defense at this point. It's a little too late. It's late for that.
The cat's out the bag, huh? Yeah. That's a fair point. Let me see. Excuse me, fans. Let me see. What other game stood out to you? The Texans. Your guy came back from a little bump when he bumped his head 3 weeks ago. He finally showed up. He showed up to practice and played, and put up 28 points. The Texans put up 28 points on the Titans, and got my guy Mike Vrabel frustrated. he's frustrated, barking at the press, the beat writers, and everything after that pounding they took from the Texans. We'll get into Rookie of the Year later to next week once the season's actually over. But is he going to be on your Rookie of the Year list, CJ Stroud?
Oh no, there is no list. He's the Rookie of the Year. I don't know what kind of list of other players you're coming up with, but wow. He was the number 2 pick in the draft, which means the Houston Texans sucked. And now if they win this game, they could quite possibly be in the playoffs. So I can't really see what other player that you're talking about.
So the 3rd pick in the draft doesn't get any recognition for what he's done?
No.
Do you know who the 3rd pick in the draft was?
Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah, so he did nothing for that defense. That defense does nothing. So holding the Tennessee.
How many times have you called out Will Anderson this season? Not one time.
Well, how many times have you called out Will Anderson?
0. And you want to know why? Because there's been no reason to call Will Anderson Jr. out as some type of playmaking ability type of guy. He's been kind of cool, serviceable. Let's get your feet wet. Let's get in these games and try and make some plays, make some things happen, but not very often.
The Texans defense had nothing to do with their record this season.
No, it had something to do with it, but not as much as CJ Stroud. Not even close.
Okay. So welcome back, CJ Stroud. Again, came out the dark room after he bumped his head 3 weeks ago. Glad to show up. Glad to see you, big guy. Glad to see you. Did the Lions get robbed on Saturday? I feel like it was Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? It was Saturday night, right? Did the Lions get robbed Saturday night?
Yeah.
It was if you remember a few. What was this? This might have been before the show when the Lions and the Cowboys played in the playoffs, and the linebacker for the Lions was chasing down the running back for the Cowboys, and he didn't turn his head, and the ball hits him in the back, and they called a pass interference because he didn't touch the dude, he just didn't turn his head, but the ball hit him square in the back, and they called pass interference and first down Dallas, and Dallas moves on to score and win the game. Do you remember that call? That was just that's the.
I don't remember that particular play, but I don't know where you're going with this, Cam. With regards
well,
to
the Lions get cursed again from the Dallas Cowboys. So a couple of things I'm thinking. I'm thinking when they now you text me said they shouldn't have. I'm okay with Dan being aggressive, going for the win. I'm totally fine with that. I like the play actually. Dan going for the win on first down. Okay, they get cheated. The refs don't know what happened. Dan says, "No, screw it. We're going for it again. We're down here. We're going for the win again. No sense of playing around in overtime. We're going for the win again." Now you get the offsides goal. So now it's first and goal from the 7, and then they go for it and don't get it. Which time should he have kicked the field goal? I said should have kicked the field goal.
Second time.
Which time should he have kicked the field goal?
It was too far. I mean, like your offense isn't explosive enough, and you can't do enough different things to confuse the defense. I mean, you're trying to get 7 yards. That's terrible. Kick the field goal and hold them, and then go into overtime and try and win the game or tie the game. Like, what are you doing?
I'm not mad at him being aggressive. I understand why people.
Furthermore, what do you think the offensive lineman is going up to? What? Just have like a brief conversation with the referee? Like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm 68. And just walk off? I mean, come on, man. Clearly you're reporting as eligible.
No, that was a referee's fault. That was a referee's. So
why am I talking to you? I never talk to you ever. What
I think happened is a referee saw number 70 come running over there to him. He heard the guy say, "I'm reporting." He heard somebody say, "I'm reporting." He saw 70 coming over to him. He's like, "Oh, 70 must be reporting. Let me run over here and tell the Cowboys." I don't think they should have to explain that. I really don't think they should have to explain who's reporting.
Oh, you absolutely should have to explain that because that's part of the game. Because all of a sudden you can do different things. All of a sudden that player can do different things. But
they watch enough tape, Cleveland. They watch enough tape
and talk to the guy. That means that, hey, man, I'm involved in this play in a different way than you're used to.
Well, I totally get it. The ref screwed that. The ref screwed that totally 100%. I agree with you. However, I'm just saying I don't think that's a play. They should not have to report that. The players, they watch enough tape. Number one, first and foremost, that's it. They watch enough tape. They know lineups. They know when they see a guy who's uncovered.
But they also know when players can do or not do certain things.
No, based on lineup. So Cleveland is what I'm telling you. Based on the way the guy lines up, if he notices that linebacker, that cornerback, that safety, notice nobody's covering him, this guy's eligible to go out for a pass. The referee shouldn't have to tell you that. The referee shouldn't. These guys watch enough tape. They see that. They identify that. That's how come they make the defensive players make the plays they do by watching film, by studying tape. They should be able to know this guy's on the end. Regardless if his number is 3 or 53, they know this guy who lines up on the end is eligible for a pass. So you have to defend that. I don't think they should have to report that. I don't, in my opinion. However, that's part of the rule, so he must report that. And then again, even when he reported, you saw the guy was still wide open. Like, so whether that makes a difference or not, because they're not paying attention to, they see 50, whatever numbers, 58, 68. They say, okay, this guy, a guy with that number doesn't go out for a pass very often. That's one of the complaints I would have about these guys changing their numbers. With the linebackers being able to wear single digits, Derwin James wearing the number 3, like that is confusing to the offense. Like, what is this dude wearing number 3? He's a linebacker. The Murray's wearing the number 9. That is confusing as much as confusing to the offense as the guy number 68 going out for a pass. Like, I think that's kind of ridiculous, but that's a whole nother thing for another day. I think the Lions got robbed. What also told me in that game was Jimmy, and I never thought this before, But Jerry Jones having a drink that night, way back in what 96, in the summer of 96, I think it was, kind of cursed the Dallas Cowboys by anointing. Excited as Jimmy Johnson was, excited as the fans in Dallas was, excited as those players were, Michael Irvin, Haley, Emmitt Smith. I think inaugurating, bringing Jimmy into the Ring of Fame in Dallas, I think that might have lifted the curse of Jimmy. I never considered there was a curse before, but I think that lifted the curse. What do you think?
Possible, but it was just too bitter how the whole thing went down.
Very stupid and bitter. I mean, he's saying anybody can coach the team. Jerry was looking for some credit and some recognition. That was completely asinine, not recognizing what Jimmy actually meant to that squad. I mean, that was stupid. Yes, it was. However, it put a curse on the team for 30 plus years. And I think by bringing that potentially lifted the curse of Jimmy when he brought him into the Ring of Fame. Do you think the NFL should bring in full-time referees? Is that a thing? Do you think we'll see that?
Yes. Whether we see it or not, yeah, they certainly absolutely 100% should do that.
When he is that something we might see, or what do you think?
No, I think that they've been getting by with the way they've been doing things for this long. So until something egregious happens, remember
something egregious,
they were going with substitute referees until
something egregious happened.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, no, settlement. We can't ruin the product, right? So at this point, they don't feel like the product has been like tarnished or ruined to a point that they are going to do that, but they absolutely should do that. Yeah.
Well, that was a Hail Mary in Green Bay versus Seahawks when one ref literally, two refs standing in the end zone. I think it was three refs standing in the end zone. One ref is screaming touchdown. It had his hands up for the touchdown. The other ref is screaming no complete. Like that was like, how can you guys be 3 feet away from the play and have different
calls? Completely, totally different. Yeah.
I mean, total opposite calls. That was wild. The Eagles lose again to the Cardinals. We talked about that. Dolphins get routed. What was the most impressive win of the weekend?
Pittsburgh Steelers coming up to the 206 and ramming it down the Seattle Seahawks throat.
What did you talk to us about that game? What did you see? What did you see out of your guy Tomlin? I mean, were you guys able to connect? Did you guys go eat some seafood together?
Oh yeah, so we went down to Ivers, man. Had a few fillets, and I say congratulations, man.
Did he mention my name? Did he mention my name at all?
Oh yeah. We talked about you for a tad bit. I'm like, man, my dude will give you no credit. Doesn't really like you. It doesn't really, and thinks that your record, even though you haven't had a losing season ever, is still somewhat mediocre. And
it was somewhat mediocre, very mediocre.
Okay.
I mean, that's a definition of mediocre.
So I said, hey, but I know you got a Super Bowl. You went to 2, and I know the kind of culture that you're trying to bring around. I know it's kind of hard to do with these new millennials, but I mean, you're trying your best. And Kenny Pickett,
Antonio Brown,
Rudolph,
Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, Pickens. You want to talk about culture? Oh my goodness, I don't know if that's the right word to use. Anyway, so they went up there and just smacked the Seahawks around. You saw. And was that the best you see Najee Harris play in his career?
Quite possibly.
You know who Warren is now? Because you didn't know who he was at the beginning of the season.
Oh, no, he's been on my fantasy football team all season. So, yeah, I know who he is.
And the Seahawks just couldn't stop him, or what? What was it? What was the deal? I see Gino made a.
Just couldn't stop him. I mean, that was clearly what I mean. There were some big throws to Pickens. There were some big throws to Deontay Johnson, but it all came down to, back in the Eric Dickerson days, man. If I'm just running for 6 yards a carry, what are you going to do about it? I'm going to get a first down every time.
So you guys probably could have used Frank Clark, huh?
No, not really. I mean, Pete is one of those guys that, like, if you can't play, you can't play. Give you every opportunity, but if you're not performing or producing, you have to lose this thing.
So did Woolen? Did he ever recover from that stiff arm? Or is he in a neck brace at Harborview? What's he looking like?
Well, I mean, it's his feelings that are hurt. Physically, he's fine. Mentally, psychologically, I'm not 100% sure because he pushed him in the middle of his chest, and like he was pushing him off the side of the road, like a 12-year-old. So yeah,
oh my goodness, crazy. So the Seahawks they need a lot of help this weekend, right?
Just one game.
Who they need? What do they need to happen?
They need the Bears to beat the Packers, and they need to win the game.
Okay.
Against the Arizona Cardinals.
The Cardinals. I mean,
but a team that just
sound like you're confident. Sound like you're confident.
That just went to Philly and hurt their feelings. So
But you guys beat Philly, so you're not so impressed. But Kyler Murray, I mean, Kyler Murray trying to prove that he's a legit NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's tempted to get outside the pocket, and he can rush for a few yards himself. So, what do you think about the second baseman coming up to town?
Shortstop.
Shortstop.
And, a little bit concerned, but hey, man, he is still a shortstop. Hit him hard.
you disrespected dude. So yeah, we talked about CJ able to play this week. So Broncos squeaked by the Chargers, no big deal. What do you see as the best landing spot for Wilson since he had to ride the bench as the Broncos did beat up on the Chargers? He clearly is going to be out of there. Is there the Raiders or Falcons, Cardinals? Cardinals not going to look for a quarterback. The Saints, the Commanders. If you were which one of those teams, who would you call, or who do you think Russell should call to try to go to either one of those teams?
Of all those landing spots, I think probably the Commanders for now.
Commanders back in Chocolate City. Sierra might go for that. Back on the East Coast, bigger market, just a few short drive to New York. She might go for that. What's your thoughts on Flacco, man? Leading these Browns, just keep winning games, coming off the couch to win some games. What's your thoughts on Flacco?
I think it's hilarious with regards to the Jets, like not really having a whole lot of faith in him, going the other direction with Zach Wilson, and then seeing what a fiasco that was, and then
Bill, thanks for joining us.
Like they don't have to do a lot.
With Flacco, they don't have to do a lot.
Those are like what? They're 11-5.
Yeah, I mean they got the good defense. I mean they need a veteran quarterback, but what does this say? What does this say about Deshaun Watson? What I mean,
nothing. It says he was hurt, and they found a adequate replacement to plug in while he is on the mend. There's not going to be a quarterback controversy next year. It's not like, ooh, who's better for the team, Flacco or Deshaun? Deshaun's still the better quarterback. It's just that they found a substitute that was, giving results. They tried the same thing in Minnesota. It worked out for a couple of weeks. That was a great story. Astronaut, Josh Dobbs and stuff until it wasn't.
No, you did. Come on, you're not comparing Josh Dobbs to a Super Bowl winning quarterback, are you? Yeah, that's not what you're trying to do, are you?
Yeah, Joe Flacco's like 48 years old. I mean, he was eating nachos on the couch, just like you and me. And they're like, hey, you want to still play? He's like, ooh, I think I got a couple more games in me. Went and did some wind sprints and.
I mean, he got 4 wins in a row.
Started eating, egg whites, and got out there and did his thing.
They haven't lost since he's been a quarterback.
Okay.
Tim Hill says Watson needs more experience.
He's more experienced. Oh, okay. Deshaun, Timothy. I'm not sure how much more experience he needs. I think he just needs to be a little healthier and kind of get a better grasp of this offense. Hasn't had a whole lot of time in this offense. But
he needs playing time
every day and twice on Sunday. You would rather have Deshaun Watson as your quarterback than Joe Flacco.
Again, four wins in a row, getting them into the playoffs.
That's great.
With
it's a wonderful story.
It is a wonderful story. I mean, the defense is playing solid. Their running game, they're similar. I'm not going to call them similar to Baltimore. They've been able to run the ball effectively, even without Chubbs in the game, Chubbs in the lineup. They've been able to run the ball effectively, so that's impressive. And then he's open. He's unlocked. What's the tight end's name? He's how dude from Miami. Njoku. He's unlocked Njoku. How we haven't seen. I mean, we haven't seen the guy running around the field like this since the University of Miami. So that changes thing around, and they got the legitimate receiver. They got a receiving core. I mean, they've had the talent, but
hey, Cam, don't all of a sudden act like you're an Amari Cooper fan. The way that you were talking about me when I drafted him in fantasy, man, no, you can't come back and say he's legit, huh?
No, I'm not saying he's legit. So I remember having this funny.
You're not saying he's legit. So then why are you trying to talk about him like he's like
they got a decent receiving core? Him, I mean, he's not trash. He's a decent receiver. He's a quality receiver in the NFL. He's above average receiver in the NFL. I'll say that much.
Fans, go back and watch the tape.
They got people.
Listen to how Cam used to talk about Amari when I drafted.
So I got an argument when he got traded when the Cowboys traded him to the Raiders for what? The Raiders gave him 2 number ones.
Other way. What is the other way?
I think the Raiders gave the Cowboys 2 number ones. I think the Raiders gave the Cowboys because the Cowboys didn't want to sign him because they didn't feel he was the number 1 receiver. Okay. And then he went to the Raiders, and then he ended up in Cleveland. But the Raiders traded him for 2 number ones. And I happened to be at an event where I was talking to Eric Dickerson that week, right? And I'm like, asked him what I said, what do you think of the trade? And he's partial to the team that he played with, right? He played for the Raiders. So he's like, well, I don't think we should have did that. And I was like, what do you mean? They needed a receiver. They didn't have a better receiver than Amari Cooper when they made that move. And in that draft, they weren't going to be able to draft a player, and they were drafting in a team. They weren't going to be able to draft a player better than Amari Cooper at receiver. He's like, man, he's not worth 2 number ones. I'm like, Eric, what is he worth then? If he's not worth 2, you are not going to be able to get a better player than him in the draft. The Cowboys traded for Cooper. They gave up a number 1. He wasn't going to be able to get a better player than him in the draft. What was he worth? He's like, dude, what has that dude done in the NFL? What has he done to be labeled worth the number 1 pick? I'm like, dude, in his draft class, he was the best receiver. In that draft, appreciate you, Boozilla. No, I'm not confusing Amari Cooper with Joey Galloway. Galloway was a game breaker. Amari Cooper has never been confused with that. But yeah, I know it was between the Raiders and the Cowboys either way. But Eric was totally against the draft. I remember that specifically. That was a very funny conversation. But him being in Cleveland, like him with Peoples, they got a decent core. Like their receiving core is not trash. Their receiving core is not trash, and that's why I say it may not look good for Deshaun Watson because he never had them looking like this Cleveland Brown did earlier in the season. So you said he was hurt. You mentioned that your story. You heard that he was hurt, and they knew he was hurt weeks ago. But I mean, I can look at their record. Do they rip off 4 in a row ever in the season? Until they never ripped off 4 in a row until Flacco showed up. So I don't know. That's why the situation might be a little different. Good looking out, Bootzilla, for cleaning that up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if Flacco goes back to the couch or they keep him around. We'll see. At least for some guidance, man. At least you could talk to Deshaun when he comes back a little bit. Did Brock redeem himself? I mean, I should have pulled. I showed you that. I should have pulled up the highlights for you because I know you're not paying no attention. Did Brock redeem himself with their win over this past weekend?
Nope.
You refuse to give the kid any love anyway. If he was out playing football right outside your, you need a ride to work, and he had the Uber right out there, you probably wouldn't even get in his car, would you? How should the golf feel? Welcome the Rams. Looks like they're gonna play the Rams first round of playoffs. How should they feel about that situation?
Oh, he's gonna pick them apart.
The Rams? You got golf beating the Rams?
Well, I mean, if that is the what the eventual outcome will be, but right now, yeah, he's got a chip on his shoulder for sure. I mean, imagine that game, Cam. Like, damn, I took it to a Super Bowl. You trade for me because you don't think I can take it to another one, and then you guys go out and win one with the dude that was the number one pick, for Detroit. Yeah, that's a lot of animosity. Ooh, that's going to be a very emotionally charged game. It's going to come down to two players, one on offense for the Rams and one on defense for the Lions. It's going to come down to whether Kyron Williams can continue to just be filthy in that offense.
Yeah, that's another kid.
It's come down to if Aiden Hutchinson can make Matthew Stafford move off the spot.
I mean, you talking about? I mean, that's Sean McVay.
No, he's worth 18 mil.
Yeah, he'll get a 1 year contract. 100 mil is 100 mil is like a 3 year, 4 year contract. Yeah, he's worth a 1 year contract.
One year, 18 mil. 1 year.
Yeah, I keep him around just for confidence sake, just to push Deshaun is not what I want to say, but
there's no pushing somebody that's already signed a guarantee contract.
To be a mentor, a coach,
a mentor.
You know how I feel.
You're Yoda stuff, man. Why do you get off your Yoda shit, man?
He can talk to Deshaun. Settle down, young Sam. Settle down, young son, because he can help him out. He man, I would say, and come on, I would say Deshaun Watson needs a veteran that he could talk to. I would say that. I think you would agree if you thought all that Deshaun Watson.
He's already a veteran. He's been in this league for a long time.
I mean, he had to take some time away from the NFL for a certain reason that he might need somebody to talk to. Was that fine? David Tepper, $300K for a drink toss. Was that enough?
No, but he owns he owns an NFL franchise, and he can only get so crazy about it, right? Yeah, you have to at least acknowledge that what he did was wrong, but he can't be like $4 or $5 million. I mean, like what? Like how much do you get for? I mean, that's a pretty expensive drink toss, right?
That is expensive drink toss. I'm with Swagoo. I think that the dude he threw the drink on should have got that money. That he should have had to pay him, not just paid to the Roger Goodell.
Yeah, this is a billionaire that quite honestly didn't understand what he was getting into, and his frustrations are just boiling over in a lot of different ways.
Dude, what is the fan? What could the fan have said? What could the fan have said to you?
What could the fan have possibly said to a billionaire?
Yeah,
the franchise to make him so angry that he felt that he had to reciprocate by throwing a drink on him.
I'm curious. I want to know what he said to him. Was it accumulation? Was it from first quarter to fourth quarter that it happened?
The cumulative effect of being 2-14. You're not used to losing a lot, and used to having your own way for quite some time, and just buying your way out of bad situations, and you just can't buy yourself out of this bad situation this time.
So he threw the drink.
Hearing all that noise was just too much for him. And he acted like a regular person.
that was a bad look for sure. That was a bad look for sure, man. All right, fans. So this week, all right, I don't have it queued up for this week, so you guys just gonna have to hear me out. This week, Cleveland, you have your supremacy rankings. You got Baltimore, San Fran, Detroit, Dallas, and Miami. Now, Miami just beat Dallas last week. How do you have Miami below Dallas?
Oh man, that they just barely wait, hold up.
Miami beat them 20.
Yeah. They just barely beat Dallas, and then they got mauled by the Ravens. That's why I had that. Mauled.
So I got Baltimore, San Francisco, Detroit, Miami, and Buffalo. So Dallas didn't even make my because they should have lost to the Lions. I mean, they should have lost to the Lions. Nobody disagrees with that. Nobody disagrees with that at all. So with their confidence picks last week, I had we both had 11 points. We both were off with Philly with 4 points. I had Cleveland, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Philly, and San Francisco. You had the Rams, Kansas City, Buffalo, Philly, and San Francisco. We both lost with Philly, so that was a 4-pointer that we lost. For the week, we evened up with 11 picks correct, right? 11 out of 16 correct. The games that we disagreed on, I had Jacksonville over Carolina, and even with their backup quarterback, they put up 30 points if I remember correctly. You had Indy over the Raiders, which actually happened. Baltimore had Baltimore over Miami. They got throttled. You had New Orleans or Tampa Bay. Why'd you have New Orleans over Tampa Bay? That was just your hate for Baker.
I thought they were just riding a little bit too high. I mean, they had pulled off a couple of capers, and I just wasn't convinced that was a sustainable thing.
Hill, have I thrown a drink before? I can't really say I threw a drink before, Hill.
I don't throw drinks, man.
I don't.
If I throw a drink, if I throw a drink, I'm expecting like a melee. Like straight
right. That's number one. Yeah, that's
okay. I am so mad about whatever happened that a melee is about to happen. Because
I can't say I threw a drink either. Most drinks I was drinking are either, I mean, especially at a ball game, those are too expensive. I don't know if you've been to a game recently where those drinks it's $15 for a beer.
$5 for the tall beer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those drinks are way too expensive. I hate when somebody bumps me and I spill a drip, a swallow of it, But I can't say I threw a drink before. And then again, as a $1 billion a guy who has $20 billion in the bank, I'm not sure what that dude could have said to me. I don't know what I'm interested in what he said because he could have been barking all for 4 quarters, and I'm going home. My driver's outside. I don't have to deal with traffic.
49-room mansion that you have to I don't know what to get to. It's so secluded. Like, what are we talking about here?
I mean, I don't know what he could have said for real deal. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. Dude couldn't have said Dude couldn't have said nothing.
There's nothing he could have said to make me
not in his position. No. Like frustrated. You talking about he don't know, he doesn't deal with losing too well. Oh man, come on. You don't make every sale. He couldn't. Yeah, dude couldn't. I don't know what he could have said to me. So here we go. You had the Raiders. We went through that one. Seahawks got pounded. We talked about the Seahawks. LA and Denver. That was a touchdown game. That was a touchdown game between 2 backup quarterbacks. It was 16-9 if I remember correctly. Told you that would be a good game. Stidham and Easton Stick. I mean, that's why it was a good game. It's 2 mediocre 2 backup quarterbacks playing against each other. And Sean Payton, you bench your Pro Bowl quarterback, and you only score 16 points. I don't know. That was a good look. I don't know that was a good look for you, pal. And then Green Bay, they put up 30 points on Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota can't. They're in trouble. This is making Kirk Cousins. Them looking at Kirk Cousins like, okay, Kurt, here's 40. If you come back, here's 40 for 2 years, and Kurt's gonna get overpaid again. He's gonna get overpaid again next.
But is he getting overpaid, Cam?
The dog. He made he a 3-year, $75 million contract. Come on, Kirk ain't worth that. I mean, he's worth it because
I mean,
they
are
paid
they in
him.
the playoffs? If Kirk is throwing it,
It might be.
Okay.
I mean,
well, then how is he overpaid?
Because he was paid like he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, well, Justin Herbert, how much money did he get? Because they're not even remotely in the playoffs. No, they don't like that talk. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the comparison there. The comparison.
$1 million for somebody that's not in the playoffs.
Moving right along.
Yeah, move along from that conversation.
Picks against the spread. How'd you win that category? The Giants. You had the Giants being right in there, huh? And I had the Raiders. The Raiders, that was a push because the Raiders only lost by 3 points. So that I think that could have been a win.
So close.
Looking at this week, here we go. Steelers and the Ravens. The Ravens aren't gonna play anybody, so that's a win for the Steelers. Houston and the Colts. Is Houston gonna play for something this week? We're gonna see. Falcons and the Saints. Huh?
Yeah, the division. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But are they? They're playing everybody. So you got Gardner Minshew, your guy, against C.J. Stroud, your other guy.
No, Gardner Minshew is not my guy. Where do you come up with that?
I mean, you like to hate on Gardner Minshew. I'm going with CJ though. I'm going with CJ. He had 2 weeks off.
I'm glad to see you come over to the dark side. Cool.
Saints. I can't go with the Falcons. I got the Saints in that game. I'm going with Cleveland. Cleveland winning this game. I mean, yeah, I'm going with Cleveland. I'm not sure who they're gonna rest, but I'm going with Cleveland in this game over the Bengals. The Bengals don't have much to play for. Jacksonville and the Titans. I guess Titans are got Vrabel so frustrated. He gonna make these guys practice Thursday, Friday, and probably Saturday for this game. They could win that game, but they're gonna be so tired of Vrabel they just gonna lose the game. We don't know. That could be a blowout. Vikings over the Lions. I'm going with Detroit, although they may rest their players as well. I still think they got enough to beat the quarterbackless Vikings. The Jets and the Patriots. This is a must game for Bill. Might be his last game in New England. So
must game. Really? Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to lose to the Jets. If you remember the Jets, he was the Jets head coach for about 15 minutes before he said, "No, I'm not taking that job." He called him and said, "I'm not taking that job." 2 days later, he's signing with Kraft and the Patriots.
Great decision.
Yeah,
so one of the best business decisions you've ever seen.
So he doesn't want to lose to his last game with the Patriots to the Jets. Buccaneers, the Buccaneers versus the Panthers. The Panthers, I mean, they should be resting players. Packers and the Bears. I'm going with Green Bay. Is Justin Fields? Has he done enough to stick around? Do you think? Is it still up in the air?
I think he's done enough to make what the Bears can get for that pick enough to keep him.
Really?
Yeah, the amount of picks that they're going to get for somebody wanting Caleb Williams will be extraordinary.
But you saying the Bears are going to keep him?
Yeah. If you get like 3 first-round picks for your number 1 pick this year, oh, yeah, Justin can stay.
I think the sheer economics of the situation, he's had some good flashes. I don't think his flashes is equals.
So check this out. So you can take the number 1 pick and draft Caleb and get like a first round and 2 second rounders for Justin Fields. Or you can ride with Justin Fields, hope that he has a little bit more going in the maturation process, and get 3 first rounds, 2 second rounds for whatever team you're trading for thinks of Caleb Williams. I think it's a no-brainer.
So here's what I say: the economics is Justin. You have to pay Justin Fields. Justin Fields is going to make somewhere around $40 million for the next 3-4 seasons. So we're talking about $120 million for a guy who's you're still waiting to develop, right?
Okay.
Well, if you trade him, you're going to be able to get some picks, right? Whether it's 2 1s, 2 2s, a 1 and 3 2s, whatever that combination of picks is, you're gonna get some picks. Your ability to draft Caleb Williams, and you're gonna have the Panthers number 2, 3 pick, their pick, whatever that is, number 2, 3, or 4. So you're gonna have the 2 picks within the first round, right? So if you draft Caleb, you're gonna pay him $40 million for the next 5 years. So you're paying Caleb $40 million for the next 5 years, or you're gonna pay $120 million for Fields, who's still trying to figure it out. I think the sheer economics of it tell you that you got to trade him.
No, get the picks. Get the bushel of picks.
That's what I'm saying. You got to trade him. That's what I'm saying. You got to trade him, and then we'll start over. But it's not like they're a playoff team this year with Justin Fields. So you're still waiting for that.
If you trade Justin Fields, the amount of picks you can get is so much less that there's no reason to trade him. You get so much more for the number 1 pick in the draft.
But I'm speaking from the economic point of view. Economics. You're going to pay Justin Fields. You're going to sign him for 4 years.
And he's not gonna. And if he wants that, then that's fine. You can go get a different quarterback, a serviceable quarterback, and still have all those picks.
No. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's an interesting dilemma that the Bears are in. We'll see how things shake out. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how things shake out. Dallas over the Commanders. We both agree on that one. We agree at the Raiders. I got the Rams beating San Francisco. I think San Francisco will be resting. The Rams and McVay, they're playing for their playoff lives. They're gonna win that game. Philly, you got the Giants. You got the Giants beating Philly when Philly needs his win. Ooh, Philly, are they in the playoffs or they got to play to get in?
No, they're in the playoffs.
Okay, that's interesting. You got the Giants to win, and then Seattle over Carolina. Or the Cardinals. Excuse me. I agree with that one there. The Dolphins, boys, you guys better win. That's all I got. It's you. You guys better win this game against Buffalo at home. The schedules fall your way. I told you. You would wait until they get into December and have to go to the road. I was telling you half the season that they play the games. 3 of the 4 games they play in December are at home.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a home game against a cold weather team. You guys better put it on Buffalo. And they beat you by, they smacked you around by 30 earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Tua, if you don't get it done this week, buddy. If you don't get it done this week, Tua. Oof. Here's our confidence picks. I got Miami, Detroit, Philly, Green Bay, and New England. I told you that.
New England number 5. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Cameron.
That's a must win, buddy. I'm telling you that.
Appreciate it.
That's my guy, Bill.
Yeah,
Bill ain't gonna let me down. Bill ain't gonna let me down. And you got Seattle, Cincinnati, Detroit, Tampa, and Dallas. So we'll see how this is important. This is an important week right here. This is an important week in terms of our pick.
Oh, your matrix looks so distorted. Ooh.
All right, Cleveland, man. Let's get into some NBA conversation. In the NBA, there was a trade. The Raptors trade OG Anunoby Precious Achua, and Malachi Flynn to the Knicks for R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and 2024 second round pick. Who won this trade?
The Knicks won the trade, but it won't make a significant difference.
The Knicks won the trade by getting OG.
Yeah.
How do you see R.J. Barrett and Quickly fitting in with Toronto?
Not well. That franchise is very disoriented right now. They're trying to figure out how they can get rid of Siakam and start over, man. Start fresh.
I mean, this is a good start. A good way to start fresh is they finally was able to replace.
RJ Barrett's never done anything. Quickly's never done anything, and I mean they traded for a bunch of players that have never done anything.
Well, New York is kind of frustrated with this trade right now. Why do you think the New York fans are frustrated with this pick? If you say
They don't understand what they're getting. Eventually they will, and it will make sense. Unfortunately, it's just not enough to get them over the hump or out of the second round. So,
oh no, it's not. It's not enough. But OG is going to be solid for him. He's a Tibbs player. Precious Achua, if he gets some time, he might not play enough defense to get on the court for Tibbs. But I like what Precious does. He's like OG, but he's more offensive than OG is. He's about the opposite of OG. OG plays more defense and serviceable offense. Pressures is a better offensive player, serviceable defense. That's kind of weird how that worked out. But yeah, I don't think Knicks fans everybody who's hooting and hollering about this trade doesn't understand OG is the best out of the trade, and he's a Tibbs guy. He's gonna be solid. OKC beat Boston last night. Had them down by 15 at one point. I don't know. I doubt you watched the game, but OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, this version here, these guys, not only do they have the potentially rookie of the year who's not a rookie, but they got a lot of pieces, man. A lot of pieces that fit well together. They'll be in position to make a playoff run. However, in the NBA, unlike most sports, unlike NBA, you have to have a heartbreaking playoff loss before you can really be considered championship caliber. Very few teams don't suffer that heartbreaking loss before they end up winning the championship. In OKC, they're just too young where they haven't obviously suffered any playoff loss, that they're going to have to go through that. So they're a good team. They have a lot of talent. They'll make the playoffs. I think they're third in the West right now, second or third in the West, comfortably. What are they? Let's check it out. What are they? What's your thoughts on OKC Thunder?
Impressive victory, Cam. I mean, January the 2nd and stuff. Right after the holiday and stuff. That's cool.
See how you do? You already discount them. You're already discounting their win. But you gotta win sometime, right?
Sure.
You can't you can't wait till
lay in front of you and do the best you can, and they did great. Won that game.
Well, look at you. You trying to clown. OKC is 23-10.
Killing them.
I mean, that's the fourth best record in the league.
That's like the same record the Sacramento Kings had last year. Sure is.
Ooh. Wow. What's up with you and the Kings?
Nothing. They're a really cool team. They play well together.
Have a better record than your Lakers.
They run their sets well. They set screens. They block out on rebounds. They're a very fundamentally sound team. It's just that unfortunately in the Western Conference, that's not what gets you victories.
So, what gets you victories? Because you want to shit on the Kings, who have a better record than the Lakers, that might I add, and you want to shit on the OKC Thunder, who have the second best record in the conference. What gets you victories? What gets you victories?
Oh, a lot of things that you victories in the regular season, Cameron, will get you victories in the playoffs. Is you have to have that dude.
Here we go. And so Sacramento, you still no faith in De'Aaron Fox. Zero faith in De'Aaron
Great
Fox.
player. Great player.
But
great regular season player. Not enough around him, and not enough seasoning when it comes to this playoff thing in the Western Conference.
Well, that's what OKC is. That's their problem right now. That's why they're really not a threat, and that's why you can feel comfortable talking this BS right now about OKC because you know they have to suffer that loss, and they have yet to experience that, and so that's why you're comfortable saying what you're saying right now. But I want to know, do you feel the same way against a team with the number one record in the Western Conference, who's 24-9 right now?
Yeah, they're soft. Less Ant-Man. Ant-Man is not soft. But the rest of them cats.
Well, hold on. You just say that dude takes a team. And you don't want to get into the coaching conversation in basketball because your coaching doesn't matter. You've already made it clear to all the fans who ever listen to the show that in basketball you just need to roll the ball out. So if Ant-Man's not soft and he's the man on the squad, they should be you should have money on them winning the championship, right?
Nah, because there's some other dudes around him. Not enough.
I mean, it's always so. Where do you have them going? Are they second round and out?
Depends on who they play in the first round.
So let's run down this list, fans. We know it. We know it is January the 3rd, and I'm just able to have a basketball conversation with Cleveland because he didn't want to talk basketball for the last 2 months. Unless it was a in-season tournament when. What?
Which the Los Angeles Lakers won the first inaugural in-season tournament, which you'll find that as history continues, this is going to be a thing. So yes.
So let's clarify something. Let's clarify something real quick, fans. Cleveland has a special name for the summer league, NBA summer league. What do we call the NBA summer league, Cleveland? He had the nerve to tell this to an NBA insider. On our show, Amina Hassan. What did you call it? No, what did you call it? What did you call the NBA Summer League? Let the fans know.
A glorified practice.
So what the heck is an in-season tournament that starts 2 weeks into the season?
In-season tournament. How that's not a summer league scrimmage practice thing. This is this really means something. All kinds of money on the line, all kinds of reputation on the line, all kinds of trophies and banners on the line. It means something.
This excitement wasn't there, fans, until the Lakers were in the finals. I just want you guys to know
this. They weren't in the finals. They won the finals. Get it straight.
You see what I'm saying? This kind of conversation wasn't here. So I want you to tell me, okay, since it's just to guys to put more weight on this BS in-season tournament. Where are your Lakers today? A month after that they
are treading water barely in the play-in. I think they're like 9 or 10. Yeah, things are tough. Right now.
They're like 12 right now, just to be
maybe even 12 right now.
So that basically the in-season tournament didn't mean anything because
and everything. I mean, they when it came down to it, they knocked everybody in their teeth, knocked everybody in their mouth when it counted.
Okay, if you can play a game every other week and be considered a play.
Well, yeah, man. Ask Indiana how that ass kicking feels. Mm-hmm.
So since you want to shit on Oklahoma City. You call Minnesota soft. These are the first number 1 and 2 teams in the Western Conference right now. You said Sacramento King, like you call them baby brothers, like they really don't have that dude. That's number 6 team in NBA in the Western Conference. What do you say about Denver Nuggets, the defending NBA champions? How do you clarify them or classify them?
Oh man, defending NBA champions, just kind of trying to stay fluid and healthy. Kind of stay in rhythm. You're ready to defend.
And that leaves 2 teams in the top 6 teams in the Western Conference, Cleveland, which you're not going to argue that the Eastern Conference is better than the Western Conference, are you?
No.
Okay, so that leaves two teams in the best conference in the NBA, which is the Western Conference. How far do you have your guy Zion and the Pelicans going?
First or second round. Depends on what the matchup is.
So the defending champions, that's the only squad you're not sneezing at in the top 6 teams in the Western Conference, right? In the top 5 that I mentioned. And the other team in the Western Conference is 14-2. Is 14-2 out of the last 16 games, leading the Pacific Division, and that would be your or my LA Clippers. What do you got? What's your issue with the Clippers now?
Oh man, I got no issues with the LA Clippers. I love the way they're playing. I love the way that they're meshing and coming together. Man, the LA Cats. Oh my God!
You hear this full exciting fans. Cleveland, the fans see the BS across your face right now. Cleveland,
the fans is healthy and happy. Oh my God. Ty Lue, man, is excited to come to the gym every day and teach these guys what he knows, sprinkle his experience and knowledge on them. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Cleveland, the fans aren't buying that you're BS right now. That little full excitement.
I can't wait to see where this goes. I would be surprised. I would be surprised if they're not in the NBA Finals this year. They certainly have enough talent to take on the Denver Nuggets, man. And Zubac against the Joker, man, he can put a body on him. Yeah. Bones Highland coming off the bench. Come on now. They strong. Strong.
The fans ain't buying this crap. You sound. What do you think of the Pistons finally winning and getting off the breaking the winning streak? Are you excited for the Pistons?
Thanks goodness for all that, because if they hadn't won a game fairly soon, it could have just drifted into just chaos, man.
Yeah, it was getting bad. It was getting bad. So we talked about some of the teams in the Eastern Conference. Again, fans, I got Cleveland to finally talk about the NBA because in the standings and the rankings and all that. Because we didn't want to talk any basketball for 2 months of the season for whatever reason. Indiana is, since you asked about Indiana earlier, they're in the 6th seed with 19-14. They're behind Orlando, Miami, and Philadelphia, who's at number 3, just 4 games behind them. Will Indiana surpass either one of those teams come March or April? Orlando, Miami, or Philadelphia? Either one of those teams.
Possibly Orlando. We'll see if Orlando can hold on and what's the word I'm looking for? Retain the confidence that they've built up and continue to play well as a team and kind of hold on, but not 100% sure.
I mean, so are you saying Banchero's going to hit a wall? Because he's the one carrying those guys. And they get
no. Paulo's legit. It's the rest of those guys.
I mean, but again, you say it's to roll the ball out and you got to have that dude. Are you're not trying to tell me that Von Wagner and Mo Wagner is that dude, are you?
No, it's about
Paulo. You're not going to say that
Jalen Suggs and my guy
who's actually playing better.
Those guys, they have to continue to play at a high level. We'll see if they can do it past the All-Star.
Greg Anthony's son play well.
Cole Anthony. We'll see if those guys can play at a high level after the All-Star break.
You made it crystal clear earlier that it's about that dude. It's about having that dude. Right? Now you want to bring up all these guys who play the bench and role players.
How am I saying anything contradictory to what I said?
Because you're bringing up Cole Anthony. You're bringing up Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz.
Let's try this again. May I finish?
No, you brought those. I didn't mention those guys. You brought those guys up. I'm asking, how did that matter when you have to have that dude?
May I finish?
Please, the fans want to hear this crap you're talking about.
Thank you. They have that dude in Paulo because those other players have been playing a little bit over their head, in my opinion. They've had a very good record. I am not 100% confident those guys will continue to play over their heads. And if they don't, then they will backtrack. If they do, then they can continue to be, in this the spot that they're in.
So did I just hear you say that it's more than having that dude, that dude needs some help? Did I just hear that?
Well, of course that dude needs some help. Depending on who that dude is. I didn't say Paula was Kobe or Michael Jordan or, hey, man, or Tim Duncan. Yeah, he's going to need some help.
He is in the Eastern Conference right now.
He's in the Eastern Conference. Your question was, can they be caught? Who's going to be caught?
So I have Miami, who's number 4, actually has the same record at 19-14. I don't know how they're hanging. I don't know how. But Jimmy sitting down. Well, Jaime Jaquez is playing good basketball right there. And you're going. Tyler Hero looks like he's pissed off because they tried to trade him last season. He's trying to show that he deserves to be.
He wants to stay.
He don't want to leave Miami. He does not. Tyler does not want to go to Indiana, Minnesota, Cleveland.
What I gotta do to stay on South Beach?
Tyler says, "Well, yo, what do you got to need, Coach? What I gotta do, Coach?"
Yeah.
Tyler Hero don't want to get on the plane and go nowhere.
Utah, I heard Detroit. Whoa, yeah, no.
Tyler don't want to go nowhere. He's balling out of this world right now. Let's see how long this could sustain himself. But yeah, Tyler, they talk about trading Tyler. Bro, he came to practice crying. He came to practice.
Yeah, he looked at that list of teams like, whoa.
Woohoo! He don't want to leave. I mean, and then I guess Jimmy's just gonna wait till April to start playing again. I guess that's his deal now. Just hang out.
A little Robert Ory in him. Got a little Robert Ory in him.
Man, just hang out and just April. Is it April yet? Okay, I'll ball out. And Embiid playing like an MVP. Embiid says he want to separate himself. He to win one crown or MVP title is one thing, but to win 2 puts you in a different category. And he still hasn't, got to the NBA Finals yet. So he's still salty that Kawhi knocked him out with his best opportunity. So he's playing like he wants another MVP, and then plus Maxey is doing his thing, but Maxey can't do it alone. Milwaukee, I'm kind of surprised when I look at Milwaukee. I want to say I'm underwhelmed by the Dame and Giannis combination.
Okay.
I want to say because they're not dominating like maybe I anticipated them to be dominating, and I don't know what it is. I'm kind of underwhelmed with the Bucks. When I see them, they're not impressive. What's your thoughts on the Bucks? Is it early? Is it they still getting together, getting to know each other? What's your thought on the Bucks?
A little bit of that, and they're a little bit older, Cam, a little bit more mature and seasoned, man. You just can't. They're just not gonna run out and just dive for loose balls early in the season, man. It's not that time yet.
But that might be the problem, though. They they got more offensive firepower with Dame, sure enough, but they don't defend anybody.
Yeah,
so it's not like
you got to give up something to get something, and you gave up defense to get Dame time.
But Dame time is not putting up 35 every night like he once was.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. That's not his role. What is going to happen?
Giannis got to go off Giannis got to go off every night because they're not playing the defense to slow somebody down.
To spread the court and give Giannis more opportunity. And when Giannis has to kick it out to somebody, he's going to kick it out to Damian Lillard. You will see this pay off in the playoffs, Cam.
Okay. I'm not seeing it in Boston. No, I mean they got the best.
They're the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference, right?
They got the best record in the NBA. They're number 1.
Okay, well, great.
I mean, it doesn't feel. I mean,
why doesn't it feel like it? What's missing over there?
Dare I say Hart is missing? Dare I say Hart that
Yeah, why are you questioning their heart? This is a team that went to the NBA Finals the year before and went to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, winning 3 straight games, and their best player got hurt in the first minute of Game 7, and they come out the next year and have the best record in the NBA. Why are they missing Hart? Because of Marcus Smart's not there? Your guy?
Now they got Derek White. I mean, they got talent. They got all the pieces, but they don't have the step on your throat to end it. They don't have that killer instinct. They don't have it.
And
that's disappointing.
But no NBA team has that.
But you're the best. That for quite some time. You have the best record in the league right now.
What's the last team that you saw that had a step on your throat killer instinct?
Okay, I'm telling you why I'm disappointed in Boston, because they don't have that. They don't have the Tatum.
But what I'm saying is, why are you disappointed in that? And NBA teams have not had that for 10 years.
Because that's what you need to. That's what they need.
It's not what you need to win a championship, because there's so many teams that win the championship that don't have that.
I don't know. So many teams that win the championship that don't have it. That's going to cost them. That's going to cost them. They have the best record in the league.
Toronto didn't have a killer. Last team to win a championship that had a killer instinct was the San Antonio Spurs. And the team before that was the Kobe Bryant led.
Let's talk about. Let's go back. Let's go back. Who was the Nuggets? Won it last year, right? Mm-hmm. Who won the last championship? The Nuggets. The Lakers won it. Was it the Lakers the year before that?
Warriors the year before that.
The Warriors? Yeah, they didn't have it either. Well, I don't know. Yeah, no, they didn't have it. The Warriors, the Lakers. Who won it before the Lakers in 19?
Raptors.
Yeah, they beat the Warriors.
Bucks in there one time.
Bucks, and then the Warriors. Did the Bucks? Well, no, they weren't there to have. They weren't. I don't want to say young, but they didn't have the killer instinct because that was their first time.
Okay,
that was their first time getting there.
Talk about this killer instinct. The Miami Heat never had a killer instinct, so they won a couple. The Dallas Mavericks, no killer instinct. It's Kobe.
I'm disappointed in Boston. Here's why I'm disappointed in Boston. When they played Atlanta Hawks last season in the first round of the playoff, that series went to 7 games. Mm-hmm. They had no business going to 7 games. They should have been over in 2 games. Now, granted, I enjoy going to the basketball game, going to go watch them play the Hawks, but there's no reason that they should have came back to Atlanta for game 6. There was no reason for them. Put these guys away, put these chumps away. But instead, you're dancing around playing tiddlywinks with the Atlanta Hawks when you should have smashed those guys. And that carried on into the rest of the playoffs where they're playing, touchy-feely with the 76ers. And then it hurt them in it didn't really hurt them because it hurt them in the finals because they gave 3 games away before they turned it on. Oh, let's play serious basketball now. And then they beat the Heat 3 games in a row. And then they just didn't have enough to finish the Heat off. But they're playing tiddlywinks. They should have, because of that situation in the finals, they should know that take every game seriously and put the teams away put these guys away, and we don't have to play so hard in the fourth quarter. Or we don't have to worry about what happens in the fourth quarter because they put teams away. And Boston doesn't do that. That's why I'm down on them. They just don't do that. If I saw some of that, maybe I'd be impressed by. I like Tatum. I like his game. I like Brown's game. They got Derek White is one of my favorite players. Now they got Holiday. He's solid too. I didn't like the pickup of Porzingis, but I mean, that's enough talent where they should be smashing guys, and they're not doing it. Then I want to see them rip off like a 20 games in a row type deal where they're just not playing that consistent. To me, in my opinion, shame on me for expecting the best out of the players. Shame on me. What do I expect?
For sure.
I mean, what would you expect? So yeah, they're just not getting it done. Did you submit your supremacy rankings?
You know, I was remiss. I was waiting one more week, and I would certainly do so.
So I have the Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, Heat, Magic, Pacers, Knicks, and Cavs. I mean, some of these teams we just gonna have to do the top 5 in each division. The Pacers, Knicks, and Heat, we still wait to see. And I got in my I got the Nuggets, T-Wolves, and Thunder. The Clippers are 4. I got the Kings in there. I got the Kings in there right behind the Clippers.
Nice.
The Magic, though, I mean, the Mavericks and the Suns. Will the Suns get it together, man? Will the Suns make the playoffs?
Depends on the health of Bradley Beal.
I hate that for KD, man. I hate that for KD. KD is just running solo by himself. I mean, Booker. I want to say Booker is there to him, but there for him. But I'm just not that confident in Booker for whatever reason. He's a good player. 18 and 15. Come on, guys. 6th place. Right now, or 8th place right now, you're in a playing tournament, Phoenix Suns. With Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, and Grayson Allen. Come on. Man, come on. Guys. They're letting KD down, man. That's how I feel. They're letting KD down. I don't know what to say, KD. I don't know what to say. They're letting KD down. So we'll see if they can get it together in this time. Fans, one thing we do that's not going to change. We've been doing it for several years. Is during a segment we have is This Week in History. No other show is bringing you some history segments, and we just want to talk about some of the things that happened in history that people either forgot or don't pay attention to. As in Sharon Pratt Dixon being sworn in as mayor of Washington, D.C., making her the first woman of any race to serve as mayor for a major city. 1955, January 7th, Marian Anderson became first African American to perform with the New York Metropolitan Opera. In 2007, January 4th, Tony Dungy, head coach of the Colts, Indianapolis Colts, and Lovie Smith, head coach of the Chicago Bears, became the first African American head coaches to coach in the NFL's Super Bowl against each other. Dungy's Colts won that Super Bowl. January 3, 1993, Frank Reich leads the Buffalo Bills back from 32-point deficit against the who, Cleveland?
Against the Houston Oilers.
In an overtime wild card victory. The greatest comeback in NFL history. On that day, I left the house. I usually don't leave the house on playoff.
You want to know what's funny? I was on a date. I was on a first date. And I always like to sit next to the television, right? And it was just one of those things where, like, look up, it's like 31-3. Like, okay, you're all into the date, and every time I just kept looking up, I'm like, wait, what is going on? Like, wait, what's going on? Like, wait, what's going on? By the end of the day, it's just like, why are you paying attention to me? It's like,
because this damn comeback on
it was kind of crazy. I have been trying to like keep it to myself, but like, wait, no, this is from way back. Yeah, that was a crazy game.
I went it was playoff weekend, obviously. I was watching it. My girl, this was after Katrina. No, it wasn't Katrina. No, Andrew had hit Miami. My girl was from So my girl, her family had came up to Georgia from Miami. It was just, man, it was like every day they just want to hang out. It was like, oh my goodness. So anyway, the mom and the grandma wanted to go to the flea market. I didn't want to go to the damn flea market. It's playoffs football. Go without me. That's what I said. Go without me. No, we'll wait till the game's over. Okay. It's 31-3. Do you want to leave yet? You see this game is over. Okay. We get in the car, we drive to Jacksonville, Florida. We get to the flea market. They're showing the game on TV. Walk by one screen, it's 33-10. Walk by another screen, is 33-17. Walk by that, I'm like, okay. Okay, you gotta go do what you're doing and let me watch the rest of this game. And I was sitting and watch the game at the flea market. The last few seconds of the game at the flea market. But yeah, I hated to leave the house. That's exactly the reason I don't like to leave the house. So leave me alone. And so she understood. Leave me alone on Sundays. Period. It's over. Cleveland. Talking about leaving somebody alone. Where were you watch the Crimson Tide play Wolverines?
Oh, I watched a little bit here of it at the house. You know, I was just kind of getting prepped for the big game. But
so Jalen Milroe, I don't watch a lot of Alabama games, but the few games I've watched of Jalen Milroe, he is the best running back they have on their team. And I generally hate to say that the player should play one position or another. If they put him at quarterback, okay, he's the quarterback until something changes, right? But when he takes off out the backfield, that dude is explosive. When he puts the ball on his arm and he goes, he's pretty explosive. I could not understand why they weren't running student body left, student body right. They did it on one play, and he picked up like 12 yards. Like, just do that. Just do that the rest of the game. Because he's so explosive that they're not going to be able to. He's going to pick up 7, 8, 9 yards of carry. Then they got down on the goal line and ran that QB counter draw. He picks up 12 yards, put them right inside the 2 or 3 yard line. Like, that's your damn game plan right there. Stop everything else. That's your game plan. That's going to beat Michigan.
Cam, I have a hypothesis for what you're talking about. Can I get a quick 90-second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Be right back. I'm going to tell you all about Milroe and who he reminds me of, and you're going to agree. Be right back.
Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Voices Fans Podcast. Give your feedback. How'd you guys see that college football playoff going? They did not. I think Saban everybody want to say he got out coached. I don't know what it was why he didn't let Milroe go and run the play. Michigan's running game, they showed up late in overtime. The best time for it to show up was in overtime, where dude ran for the 17 yards, looked like a face mask to me, but he got in. And then in overtime, their play calling was absolutely horrendous. Like, I don't know what they were doing. Again, I would have ran coming down to the fourth quarter. I would have ran Milroe student by left, Milroe student by right, because he was unstoppable. But I don't know what Bama was thinking about in overtime. You blame the low snap. Come on, that was you guys. The play had him running a QB draw up the middle anyway. That didn't make any sense. So that was. I'm not blaming the snap on that. It might have been a low snap. Okay, I'll give you that. But I'm not blaming the center on a bad snap because you guys had the play call anyway. So it should have been Milroe left, Milroe right, whether he's under center or at shotgun. Milroe left, Milroe right. That's where Bama messed up. What do you guys think? Let us know what you guys think. That's what I saw happening. And again, Michigan's running game showed up at the right time. They just showed up at the right time in overtime. And dude ran the ball in. Like, where was that running game? I didn't see him run the ball that hard like that all game long. So he finally got in there and ran the ball strong, which was good. Put them in a position to win. And don't want to say Crimson Tide gave the game away, but their play calling was just horrendous down the in the fourth quarter. Fans, I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about the play calling. It was absolutely the play calling was absolutely horrendous for Bama, and I was just saying I don't want to say that they gave the game away, but essentially that play calling they had in overtime was absolutely horrible. Go ahead. What's your thoughts, Cleveland?
Yeah, Milroe is Michael Vick without the strong arm. I mean, he's always going to be the best athlete on the field. And from the quarterback position, I mean, Camp, he got benched because he couldn't throw.
Yeah, he did. Michael Vick though,
he came around. Oh yeah, he's electric with the football. He's going to run around. He's going to make plays. That is the best opportunity for them to be successful. That's why I wanted to play Alabama so much more than Michigan. Not balanced, but if you can keep him in the pocket, you have a much better opportunity to win the game. I mean, you saw the way that they beat Georgia. You know, he did just enough, and it's hard to contain him. So, yeah.
I don't think that's a good comparison.
Great comparison.
No, he could. Michael Vick could throw it in college.
I know. I said, what did I say? I said he's Michael Vick without the strong arm.
So that ain't Michael Vick then. That ain't Michael Vick. You can't say Michael Vick without the strong arm. That ain't Michael Vick.
Which means it's very hard to keep him in the pocket. I think he scrambles a little bit better than Lamar Jackson, even at that level, even though Lamar won the Heisman. Just not with the accuracy of the arm.
Nah, Dog is a running back. Period. He has the ability to throw. He has the ability to throw, but he's a running back. Lamar Jackson was a quarterback. Lamar Jackson.
They're going to develop him into a quarterback.
I don't know what year is he a sophomore? He wasn't a freshman. What years? Is he a sophomore? Was he a sophomore?
Freshman or sophomore? I mean, with the NIL money, he's going to stick around until he gets to be, good enough to be a first, second round pick.
I don't know. No, he's not a quarterback in the NFL. He ain't not in 2 years. He's a running back, man. And again, I don't like to say when he puts the ball in his arm, he is so much better of a runner than a passer. It's not even close. It's not even is Lamar Jackson. You could say, he can throw, but oh yeah, boy, he can run too.
Bro, do you like the way Lamar Jackson throws football?
In college, he threw for 2,000 yards and ran for 1,000 yards. He threw for like.
I'm talking about week 18. Do you like the way Lamar Jackson throws the football?
I mean, he's serviceable. He's serviceable. He just threw.
No, that's no. You don't really like the way Lamar throws the ball, but he's super effective, and you can't really keep him in the pocket.
I'm not taking him over Patrick Mahomes.
2019 Lamar to the 2023
That's
Lamar.
what I'm saying. I just try to do that. You told me I can't do that. You told me I can't do that early in the show. No. I can say in 2019 he was
you can't compare the two Lamars, but that's not the question I asked you. I asked you, do you like the way Lamar throws the ball? And you said he's serviceable.
He's not Patrick Mahomes.
You don't like the way he throws.
He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he can do the job when the defender when they have to defend him for 8 seconds with him dancing around in the back there for 8 seconds.
Given enough time, can quite possibly be serviceable.
No, I don't see it. Maybe he can go to these quarterback coaches and go to these QB camps and develop that. I personally don't see it. Okay. They should have been student body right, student body left, all fourth quarter in overtime. Period. And they don't run anything else. There was no back and press me enough to get the ball. There wasn't a receiver on Bama's squad that impressed me to say, okay, you need to do the jet sweep and give him the ball. It was Milroe left, Milroe right. And if you don't do that, I don't know what you guys were thinking about. And Michigan, I mean, they played solid defense only because Milroe, he was limited. And then their running game, Michigan's running game showed up in overtime. That dude running the ball, Corum. Yeah. He didn't run that hard until overtime. That last play, that touchdown that he got in, I hadn't seen that all game. his dad burst and that burst that he had, that power.
That's who that dude is.
I hadn't seen it all game. I tell you that I hadn't seen it for 4 quarters until overtime.
The Alabama defense had done a good job of bottling him up until then, but it's hard to contain someone with that kind of talent for an entire game. And finally,
they did it for an entire game. They didn't do it in overtime, which cost them. Okay. Nonetheless, they kept talking about Herbie. Was it Herbie talking about who's the quarterback from Michigan? Oh, he comes back from these games. He brings them back. Sure. I watched him. I watched him all season long, and he just comes back. Dog, man, what was the score of that game? It felt like that was a 17-13 game. Like that's what that felt like watching that game. It was like I was kind of unimpressed by either team actually. And then we get to the let's see, what was the score of that game? People, you remember?
I think they're both the same. I think didn't they have identical scores? 37-31.
No, where they? Let me see. I was not. That was, I want to say, a hard watch, but it was kind of a tough watch, I should say. Michigan, Alabama, 27-20. Michigan won 27-20.
27-20. Sorry.
And yeah, 37-31 was the Husky game. And to talk about the Huskies, good thing that they didn't have to put Penix in a tough situation. He played for ahead. He came out throwing, and they stayed ahead in the game. And so it was never we need a fourth quarter drive out of you, because we saw when he played against Oregon and Washington State, like in the clutch, he's not that good. But if there's no pressure, that boy slings it all over the field. Hey, good thing for the Huskies that they didn't have to. What's up, Thomas? Happy New Year, bro. Thanks for tuning in.
Thomas? Right on.
Yeah. Good thing for you Husky fans that you didn't have to see Penix under a high pressure moment. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, fortunately, he plays behind the best offensive line in the country, and for the first time in a long time, he had 3 first-round receivers that were all healthy at the same time. So it's just the team that you're going against does not have enough corners to cover all of those guys all of the time. And it shows. It makes a difference. So if you keep him upright, and you have those 3 receivers, and you have the tight end underneath, and you have a strong running game from Dylan Johnson, they're a very, very hard team to stop.
They didn't have to run Dylan Johnson. He might have picked up 30 yards that game. They didn't even have to run him that.
Well, he had 2 touchdowns, so when it was hard running, it was time. He got it done.
No, but I think
it really all comes down to all 3 of those receivers being healthy. I mean, that's when the Huskies during the season had their most struggles, is when McMillan wasn't healthy and Polk wasn't healthy, and it was just like a steady diet of Rome, and you knew who the number 1 receiver was that you wanted to throw to, but now you just don't know.
Yeah, Dylan had 49 yards in that game. Like I said, it was not
how many touchdowns?
He had 2 touchdowns, but 49 yards. Like,
that's hard run. Got them 2 touchdowns.
But it was the receivers, as you mentioned. It was the receivers that did the most damage. But we'll see again. Good thing for the Huskies. Good thing for the Huskies that they did. It wasn't we need a touchdown in the fourth quarter to win the game, because we've seen Penix has shown everybody. Penix had Twitter on fire. I'll tell you that. Penix had Twitter on fire talking about how great it is. Look at these throws that he's making. All you guys, none of you guys watched the last 3 weeks of the Husky season, because talking about how what a pick he's going to be, what a great NFL quarterback he's going to be. None of you guys watched the last 3 seasons, because against Oregon and against Washington State, he was shaky at best. And so I'm interested to see how they end up playing this game against Michigan. As you're saying, your point is that Michigan have enough corners that can slow down or contain the receivers. That's a great point. We'll be able to see, can Washington's offensive line hold up and keep Michigan? And Michigan got 5-6 sacks off of Alabama in that game, and we know how much money that Alabama spends on their offensive linemen. If Michigan has got 5-6 sacks against them, how many sacks are they going to get against the Huskies? What do you think? More or less.
The thing is, I mean, they're going up against the number one offensive line in college football, so hopefully, less than 3.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's going to be that's what the game is going to come down to. I mean, no need to ask you what the keys of victory is, because you kind of just told me, right? Can Washington control the line of scrimmage, and can their defense stop whole quorum from running on them? Like, I didn't see enough from number 9, the quarterback, to be worried. I wouldn't be too worried about him, regardless of what their ranking is. I wouldn't be too worried about the quarterback and them guys putting up another 35 points on you. That I would not be worried about. But I'd be worried about that run game. Can you stop him from getting 21 carries, 160, 175 yards? If he has that type of day, and where they're just running the ball on you guys and you guys can't stop the run, that might might spell trouble for the Huskies. And they put they put Penix, they put pressure on him to where he has to bring him back. That I would be concerned about, because I hadn't seen that. And you could say I hadn't watched enough or I'm biased or whatever, but he looked shaky when they had to get it done. He wasn't getting it done, and with the Heisman Trophy on the line. So that's where my thoughts of Penix comes up. So what's your keys to victory?
The keys to victory for the University of Washington Huskies is keeping Penix upright and slowing down the Michigan running game. Once they are forced to throw the ball, they are a much different team. That dimension is not one that suits them. And if they're ever from behind having to come back, the possessions just become that much more precious. So they want to they want to bleed the clock, ram it down your throat. But if they're in a situation where they're down by 10 or 13 points, then that means you have to throw the ball. Their offense becomes quite a bit less efficient.
So philosophy, I guess, is coming to this game the same way you went into the game against Texas. It's put some points on the board early, put the pressure on their offense, and get Corum out of the game.
Yeah, where they have to score quickly, and that's the right up the Huskies' alley. So
yeah, I can see that. And then that'll eliminate that late game pressure off of Penix as well. I can see that. That's very doable. So the games. Is there a fix to these bowl games being compromised by the portal and the transfer? Is there a fix to this?
No.
I mean, we saw the game with Georgia and Florida State, how they just got walloped because 29 players opted out. Is there a fix to that?
No.
Maybe make the portal, push the portal back to the off season, but it's kind of off season for a lot of these teams anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not enough time to push the portal back, and once you become a legitimate first round pick, yeah, you're jeopardizing a lot more compensation wise, monetarily, to play in a bowl game.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So let the fans know. I think it's pretty obvious, but let the fans know what's your prediction for Monday night Huskies versus Michigan.
Yeah, I got the University of Washington winning that game 33-29, Cam. Close, hard.
You got a close game where you're going to be sweating it out. Is the same is going to play out the same way where you're going to be sweating it out. Can your defense keep up?
I certainly hope not. My fragile heart can't handle that kind of stress.
Well, you don't have Penix bringing the Huskies back to win the game in the last second touchdown, do you?
Perhaps.
No,
certainly has enough weapons in his arsenal to do that.
Don't count on that one. You saw how that happened, Cleveland, with Oregon and Washington State.
They won both those games.
Yeah, they won both of the game by a field goal. and it wasn't because Penix brought him back. I don't know.
But they did win both of those games, right? They haven't lost a game all year.
Okay. Coco. See, Coco ain't even buying that crap you talking.
Oh, you heard that?
Coco watching the game too. She not buying that. She's like, no, no. No. All right, Cleveland, let's change the script, man. I got a question. And have you seen Caitlin Clark? Do you watch much college basketball?
Man, I saw her hurt Michigan State's feelings last night. Ooh.
That jumper at the logo. Ooh.
That's a hurt feeling.
The cold thing is
the photo where the Michigan State gal was just dejected. Threw her in the photo. That's like, why you throw her in the photo?
The cold thing though was they was trying to everything they could to keep the ball from her. It wasn't like she came down like Steph came down and just pulled. They were doing all they could to keep her from getting the ball, and then she finally caught it and yak one with seconds on the clock. So that got me to thinking, who's the baddest women's basketball player you've seen? I got a list here.
I've ever seen?
You've seen. No, not in person, but you've seen play. Who's the best? I was just thinking because Taurasi was pulling from everywhere in hooping, right? Sue Bird was nice. There was another shooter who came out of Connecticut after Taurasi. She just came a few years ago, but I ain't seen her. She ain't turned up. Actually, she blew out her knee her first year, but she ain't been hitting the league like Taurasi has. Who is the baddest women's basketball player that you've seen?
Well, okay, I'm old school, so I can take it all the way back to Cheryl Miller.
Okay. That Cheryl Miller is number one on my list. So Cheryl Miller is number one on my list. But then my Lisa Leslie, again, I mentioned Taurasi. Cheryl Swoops. I remember Cheryl Swoops being a bad girl. I got Candace Parker on my list. But
see, I would put Shamika Holtzclaw on the list in front of Candace.
Yes. You would put Shamika ahead of Candace?
I mean, she won 3 straight at Tennessee. Stewie won 4 straight at Connecticut. I mean, Candace has done quite a few things. I don't know if she's like the baddest that I've ever seen.
Shamika Holtzclaw didn't have the career in the WNBA.
Yeah, the WNBA career, so that kind of distorts it a tad bit.
But she was in college. Yeah, she would give you some buckets. Stewie won 4 in a row. That's hard to beat, right? That's hard to beat.
She got WNBA, so that's hard to beat.
She's on my list though. Neither Holtzclaw or Stewie is on my list. Maya Moore is number 3 on my list.
Maya Moore had a very distinguished career.
Before she decided to just quit. I'm gone. I'm gonna go start bailing cats out of jail.
Yeah.
Tamika Catchings. Tamika Catchings was
very
solid.
illustrious career as well. Solid career.
But somebody competing with Cheryl Miller, I thought Cynthia Cooper was like she had a legacy down in Houston.
No, I mean, really, honestly, for would you have Taurasi at 2 or 3?
I had Taurasi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, that's too low.
That's too low?
Too low.
Better than Lisa? Better than Maya Moore?
Definitely better than Maya Moore.
Better than Cynthia Cooper?
Yo, yeah. She is one in college, the NBA, Russia. What, 5 gold medals?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Yes. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
That was just, I just, how much, I was just want to get a sense of how much women's basketball you watch and your thoughts.
Well, I watch some women's hoop for sure. Yeah.
Women's hoop. Okay. All right. So We got Fury and Usyk coming up in February 17th. Do you care about that fight?
A little bit. I want to see what Usyk can do.
Now watch this. Watch this, fans. Watch this. This how much of a casual. He don't like me calling him a casual fan, but this how much of a casual fan is. Watch this excitement that comes across his face when I say Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather for an exposition. You gonna watch that one?
For an yeah, because there's really nothing on the line, right? This is,
I mean, no, both of them are the old as me and you. And yeah, they're just doing this complete money grab where they're gonna just rob some folks. Yeah, I mean, if it was here in America, I'd go because
if it's a straight up this exhibition, like, oh, well, okay, well, you guys playing around.
I mean, they're not. Yeah, it's not going. I'm not buying the pay per view. That's for sure.
I mean, if it's a 12 rounder, like something like is real serious, but I'm like, oh, okay.
No, what's gonna be serious? Mayweather 50, Pacquiao's 50. It is. Come on, I'm good. I'm good. Are you familiar with Clarissa Shields?
Yeah.
You familiar with Clarissa Shields?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear Clarissa Shields say she can beat Sean Porter? Or Keith Thurman? Did you hear Clarissa Shields say that?
No. She should walk that back tremendously.
Oh no, she said when I put money on the line, these guys zip their lips. They don't have nothing to say. Once a contract is on the table, they don't have nothing to say.
Please don't do that, man, because then those guys have to come into the ring and actually show you why that's so ludicrous. I would hate to see that happen.
Keith Thurman actually, she was actually insulted that Keith Thurman said she can fight with the big gloves. He'll fight with the big gloves. She can fight with the little gloves, and she can wear the head protector. She was actually insulted by that. I'm like, Clarissa, come on, you done a lot in women's boxing. you done a lot in your weight bracket. She's like, I'll fight Keith Thurman at 154. I'm like, come on, Clarissa. So that was interesting.
If that happens, you know what, Cam? If that happens, they should have an area where the fans are, with the ambulance backed up to the ring. Those guys already with
the gurney. That's not happening. No, that's not happening. Keep it doing it. Sean Porter's not going to do it. He wouldn't even entertain the conversation, but he's not doing it. Yeah. So what brought me to this, Cleveland? What brought me to this is I don't know if you noticed it or not, but the trans athletes is trans women, actually men who's converted from women or from men to transition from men to female, who think they're female, will now be able to compete in the sport of boxing 4 years after having their transition surgery if they have minimal they can only have like a testosterone level of 5 or less to compete in boxing, in women's boxing. What is your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's unfair.
Tremendously unfair. Tremendously unfair. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know who is coming up with these legalities, like that. This is okay. There's the timeline of 4 years, and they have minimal testosterone. If they have minimal testosterone, that's still testosterone. Their bone density, because you take these fertility pills and fertility drugs, that doesn't shrink the size of your hands, the size of your feet, your bone density, your muscle density. That doesn't shrink any of that, right? How is that still on a level basis? And there's a lot of talk about trans athletes competing in various sports. I was just pointing out boxing, people born men transitioning women being able to compete in women's sports. That shouldn't happen in track, basketball, boxing, rowing, um, uh, javelin throw, any sport. That should not be a thing. And if there's so many of these quote unquote trans athletes who made this transition and who want to compete in sports, why don't they create their own sport? The Trans Olympics. If that's where we're going with this, like, and there's so many, and there's so many of them. Like, am I off base with saying this?
It's hard to determine what the competitive balance threshold is, but just given the way that certain things have already kind of transpired, like I know, we're talking about that swimmer, for the last couple of years. I mean, dominates. It's like it's
breaking women's records, yeah.
Unfair. So it's like kind of trying to find that competitive balance is going to be a challenge unless they are completely separate, in which case they probably will feel like there's some type of discrimination that goes along with regards to that. But it's real hard to kind of put into, to kind of quantify, what the results should be or what the level of expectation is for that type of competition.
I mean, Cleveland, I remember the argument is I'm gonna have this guy's name wrong. But remember the golfer who had the degenerative leg issue, and he had trouble walking 19 holes, and he petitioned to have the golf cart drive him to the to the hole, and then he could walk the rest of the course, or then he could walk back. And there was a problem with that. That was mid 90s. That was mid 90s, late 90s, something like that. And it was all a hoopla. Should this kid have to walk the full course? Isn't that golf where you walk the course? And now we're talking about, well, is she really is she a man or is she a woman? Does she still have men hormones in her body? Like, what's the level of hormones that she has to be able to compete as a woman? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I think they should create their own sports league if it's that prevalent, right? In my opinion. And I just wanted to bring that up to you, man. I just wanted to bring that up to you to have that topic, because I know that's something we haven't talked about before, just to kind of see where you're at, see where your head's at. But it sounds like you agree with me that they should have. I don't care if they feel they're discriminated against because they have because they want to compete with their women by surgery, but they want to compete with biologically born women. Like, that's not. Come on, cut it out. Cut it out. Where's the logic in here? That's my thoughts on the transition issue, transgender issue, folks. If you care to know, I just let you know. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. You guys are more than welcome to send your hate mail, your comments, your feedback, to @_Voice of the Fans, @_Voice of the Fans. Fans, over this weekend, do me a favor. Check out voiceofthefans.org. Voiceofthefans.org. New website coming your way with some fresh content on there. My man Cleveland is one of the first guys to contribute it. We appreciate that. Voiceofthefans.org. We can give us a round of applause, Cleveland. I wasn't laughing at y'all. Voiceofthefans.org. Take a moment to check out the website, and you can leave your feedback on the website itself. Go ahead, subscribe to the website, or hit us up @_Voice of the Fans, @_Voice of the Fans. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what it's lacking. It's just a soft launch right now for you guys to go check it out, and in a week or two we'll have a hard launch where we're actually promoting the website. Each and every week, fans, we hit you with the numbers game at the beginning of the show. We give you the history lesson with this week in history, and then we end our show with a quote, a motivational quote to kind of inspire you guys to go through your week, and hopefully you come back next week and to hear what else we got to say. But The quote I have this week, Cleveland, is from Mr. William Jones. Most people have never run far enough on their first win to find out they've got a second win. Most people never run far enough on their first win to find out that they've got a second win. Essentially, what that's saying, fans, is kind of keep going. You'll get re-energized by what you're doing. You get reinvigorated if you just keep running running after your task or going after your task. Don't give up. Kind of what that says to me. Mr. William James says most people never run far enough on their first win to find out that they've got a second win. So keep pushing yourself because you're gonna have more endurance. Not only are you building your endurance, you're gonna achieve your goals if you just keep pushing yourself, man. That's what that says to me. Want to thank you guys for tuning in to this week's of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause. Give Cleveland a round of applause. And check us out, voiceofthefans.org. Hit us up at @_voice of the fans, @_voice of the fans on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts. Cleveland, thank you for your time, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bro.